Netflix is the best streaming platform because it's producing a lot of bad shows. Let me explain from the start. Lately there has been a lot of talk about the Netflix losing subscribers and the stock price is plummeting. Both of these statements are true, but what does it actually mean? And is this a problem with Netflix or with the streaming market in general? Let's start with stating the Netflix direct competitors. They are Disney Plus, HBO Max, Amazon Prime Video, Hulu, Paramount Plus, and Apple TV Plus. Technically, from viewers' point of view, all these platforms are the same. You subscribe for a monthly fee and watch shows, but if you consider their size, history, company structure, and price, they are very different. Let's start with the size. Netflix is still the biggest streaming platform out there. This is the chart which I made comparing them, and it actually surprised me. The Amazon Prime Video is very close in subscriber count to Netflix. It's not surprising by itself, but because everyone talks only about Disney Plus these days, but Disney Plus is nowhere near these two giants. Although it's growing faster than them, Disney Plus is significantly smaller at this point in time, and that means that it's hard to predict what it's going to do when it reaches 200 million. The other competitors are not even near the Netflix and Amazon, but it doesn't mean anything if you consider that these companies have very different history and company structure. Let's start with the Netflix itself. Netflix is a streaming and production company. It was launched in 1997, but famous streaming option was introduced in 2007. The first show produced by Netflix was Hemlock Grove in 2013. All this means that Netflix is a company purely oriented on streaming and producing shows. It lives and dies by this. It doesn't have any other revenue sources than this. Netflix costs up to $19.99, which makes it the most expensive streaming service. It has 3,600 movies and more than 1,800 shows. I have to mention that I will not state exact numbers for any of the platforms because they are changing every day. It's a completely different story with the Amazon Prime Video. You see, Amazon is a completely different company than Netflix. It is mainly an online retail platform. And there is a twist here, and the reason why Amazon Prime Video is so big. Amazon Prime is a service which includes 1 or 2 day delivery of goods and streaming music, video, ebooks, gaming and grocery shopping services. This means that you can watch Amazon content while the reason you subscribed for it may be wholly different. Watching TV shows comes as a bonus to fast delivery of goods. This way Amazon is not depending on its streaming content at all. It's just a bonus money for them and someone that subscribes only for the streaming. You can subscribe for Amazon Prime Video independently for $8.99 a month. But the streaming platform subscriber count wouldn't be so big without the Amazon Prime as a whole. 200 million number includes all subscribers, not just ones who subscribed only for streaming. Amazon has a very big streaming library with approximately 24,000 movies and 2,100 shows. That is an insane number and it actually surpasses Netflix. In late 2015, Disney launched Disney Life streaming platform in UK to test the streaming market. Apparently this endeavor was successful, and in 2019 it was replaced by Disney Plus. Disney Plus is obviously owned by Walt Disney Company, and this company has rich history and has been around for a long time. I will not explain all the Disney's history, but it mainly consists of 2 divisions: Disney Media and Entertainment Distribution and Disney Parks Experiences and Products. Disney Media and Entertainment Distribution includes movie and animation production studios, Disney Plus and also Hulu. This kind of surprised me because I didn't know that Hulu is basically Disney. When you combine Hulu and Disney Plus, you can see that Disney is actually very close to Netflix in numbers. I also have to mention that Disney has advantage in producing stuff. Because it has been doing it for almost 100 years, it owns many established production companies. And remember that Disney has another division, Disney Parks, Experiences and Products. This is a huge revenue stream from attraction parks, cruises and physical products. Although it would be a big blow, losing Disney Plus or Hulu, it wouldn't jeopardize Disney's existence. Disney Plus has approximately 600 movies and shows. Hulu has 1600 shows and 2500 movies. Together their numbers are similar to Netflix numbers. Disney Plus costs $7.99 per month, and Hulu with no ads costs $12.99 per month. If you combine those, because it's the same company essentially, it's actually more expensive than Netflix. I have an interesting idea in my head that if Netflix and Disney were monsters, Disney would be a monster with many heads, Disney Plus being one of them. If you cut off one, the creature continues to live. But Netflix would be completely reliant on its one head. It is much more vulnerable. HBO Max is somewhat similar with Disney Plus and Hulu, because it also is owned by much bigger companies. HBO Max is owned by Warner Bros., which is owned by Discovery. It launched in 2020. But HBO Max is a streaming service originating from HBO pay television network. HBO has produced its own programs since 1973. In this way, just like Disney has much longer experience in producing stuff than Netflix. HBO Max costs $15 per month. It has 580 TV shows and 2000 movies. Paramount Plus was launched in 2014 as CBS All Access. It was renamed in 2021 as Paramount Plus. So Paramount Plus is not a new company at all. It started to produce its original content in 2016. These were shows Big Brother Over the Top, The Good Wife and Star Trek Discovery. But I'm talking here just about the streaming platform. Paramount by itself is actually an older company than Disney, established in 1912, so you can see that they also have plenty of experience with movie and show production. This costs $14.99 per month. Paramount Plus has 450 shows and 580 movies. Apple TV Plus was launched in 2019. It of course is owned by Apple, where the main revenue is generated by producing and selling Apple physical products, such as phones and laptops. It means that the existence of Apple depends on those main income sources, not on the streaming platform itself. Apple is the cheapest of them all. It costs only $4.99. It has a small library of 30 movies and 50 shows. This consists only on original Apple content. Between all those companies, Netflix is a unique one. Why? Because it solely depends on people subscribing for its services. You may think that this refers to HBO Max and Paramount Plus too, but that is not the case, because these companies have been producing shows for a long time and they license them to others. HBO shows were on Amazon Prime before. It means that HBO doesn't have to sell its own subscription if others are ready for the distribution. This way HBO can exist as a production company without even having their own platform. But HBO is only an example, it refers to Paramount too. Netflix, however, is different. It produces content only for itself. You can't watch shows produced by Netflix elsewhere, only on Netflix. But this is changing fast. Lured by Netflix's success, all these companies want the same strategy. So they are pulling their shows out from everywhere else and showing them only on their own streaming platforms. This hurt Netflix a lot, because before you could watch almost anything on Netflix. But now all the producers are making their own streaming platforms. These companies think that they each can make the best content and this way win the streaming war, but there will be no winners in this war. What? What was that? As I said, no winners. The streaming bubble will burst because people can't afford all these platforms at once. Some of these platforms will die out, But here comes the hard truth. Netflix may be the one which really dies, because others don't solely rely on the subscription, and while they may disappear, they can be restarted again because of their mother companies. I have seen many opinions about what Netflix should do, from promoting their shows better to selling merch. But I don't think that this can save Netflix. There always will be shows that people will want to watch on other platforms. No matter how good Netflix may be, that will not save it. And I'm not even talking about Netflix's own strategies of adding ads to their platform and disabling password sharing. Those strategies are plain awful and will ruin the company if they implement those. I think that Netflix should focus on licensing their products to others. Just like HBO and Disney does, Netflix should become a stable production company. They should show their movies in cinemas, and they are trying to do that actually. Movies like Army of the Dead and Red Notice have been shown in cinema, and they should really focus on this. I think that this may be the key to Netflix's future, but only time will tell what actually happens. I also want to mention that pandemic was a big reason why streaming got so popular. People were at home and wanted to watch something. Once the pandemic is over, the streaming of shows will decrease in general, and no company can avoid this. From now on, I will only describe my own personal, very subjective point of view. This includes why Netflix is the best with the most bad shows. Because of the reason that all the streaming companies want to outperform others, we are now living in the streaming content golden age. They still haven't understood that producing as many good shows as possible is a flawed strategy for a streaming company. But from the customer's point of view, there are a lot of good shows out there now, and they are trying to do their best. As Netflix is the biggest streaming company and its survival depends on subscriptions, it tries really hard. There are shows coming out on Netflix every day. You simply can't provide best quality control for so much stuff. But shows are art, and art is very subjective. I personally am a fan of that there exists so much stuff I can sift through it. I like big shows, but I also like that I can find something not so well known, and sometimes that is the best stuff. There is this joke that you can toss any ridiculous plot at Netflix, and they will produce it, and that's pretty funny and even somewhat true. But there is other side of it. If production is good, you can make almost any ridiculous idea good. You have to have a place where artists can experiment. Only this way something cool and unique can be generated. Look what is happening with Disney, for example. It lives only on its past intellectual property. How many Star Wars movies and shows there will be? Isn't this enough already? And Mandalorian is not great of a show. If there weren't Baby Yoda, it would be very boring actually. I really don't like that they are milking these franchises dry to the bone. I much rather prefer these weird Netflix shows no one knows about, at least it's something new. It's the same thing what happened with the big cinema movies. The optimization and marketing got in the way of artistic freedom, and now there rarely is high-budget unconventional movie. They are pouring money only into Marvel and Star Wars movies these days, because they know that they can make most money out of these, but I am absolutely uninterested in any Marvel movie. While this is happening, these movies also are losing quality themselves, because you can make them sloppier and sloppier. There is no competition anyway. This is also happening with the streaming platforms, and yes, while they are at the beginning, these big shows will be good. But once all the small stuff dies out, the big shows will also drop in quality. And that's why keeping and producing a lot of bad shows is actually good. This keeps the industry alive, and that's why Netflix is still the best streaming platform out there. Thank you for watching.